and she preferred them being at home with their wives to having to watch them pick up women in the bar she was in. "What?" Elena asked, taking a drink of her beer and keeping her eyes pinned to Hunter. "Just like those men are," Elsie said, leaning back in her seat and crossing her arms. "Look at him. He's going to pick her up and take her back to his place, and he won't even remember her name tomorrow." "No," Elena agreed, looking down into her beer. "He won't, but I bet she'll have a good time." Elsie shot her friend a look out of the corner of her eye. "What do you know about that kind of good time?" "Nothing," Elena said, sighing. "Absolutely nothing. But Hunter McCloud is the kind of guy that would be fun to learn from." The idea of her best friend in the world learning about sex from Hunter, her best friend in the world's only intimate sex knowledge coming from Hunter, made her want to be dead, because Elena would want to tell her about it, and against her will, Elsie would want to know. Not because it was Hunter, because she knew nothing. She'd never seen a naked man. Well, she'd seen the blurred impression of naked men running down to the watering hole to jump in and skinny dip on a hot summer day, but that wasn't the same thing. Elsie would be curious and compelled to ask, and then she'd be forced to picture, ugh, and no. "Not a good idea," Elsie said. "You have to see him all the time." "So what?" Elena asked. "It doesn't have to be a big deal." "Oh, I agree," Elsie said. "I'm just not about to throw my unfettered support behind you trying out sex on Hunter McCloud." "Because you don't like him," Elena pointed out. Elsie frowned. "That's not true. I like him." She wouldn't be able to deal with him if she didn't like him. She liked him in that way that he was more like family. She was stuck with him more than anything else. "And your feelings on the new ranch hand at Garrett's watch?" Elena smiled sweetly. Elsie waved her hand. "Different story altogether. First of all, he's probably a temporary addition to the ranch." "You think? Anyone that good-looking is not going to stay for very long. He's single. He's going to find the pool of women to be regrettably shallow. And," Elsie sharpened her gaze, "I'm going to make a move." "Really?" Elena looked skeptical. "Yes, that's why coming to the bar is useful," she said, looking around the place. Pretty much everyone here was looking for a good time, and she figured there was definitely information to be gleaned from watching the proceedings. Elsie herself was overly familiar with cowboys. She knew all about them. She'd grown up in a house filled with them. She worked with them all day, every day. She knew how to relate to them in the same way that she related to Elena. She knew how to talk to them. What she didn't know was how to flirt with them. She didn't know how to flirt at all. Normally, that didn't bother her. But the notable changes in her family had made her pretty conscious of her, well, the lack of movement in her own life. She didn't care much about men, not in that way, until Travis Young had wandered onto the property. He was the prettiest man she'd ever seen. He had clear blue eyes like the sky and thick blonde hair. He was lean and just about an inch taller than she was. He smiled easily and laughed easily, too. He made her feel fluttery. It was nice to feel that way. It was fun. And she had decided that she would really like to figure out that whole man-woman thing. One thing she was smart enough to realize was that it wasn't as simple as gaining the trust of an animal. She couldn't just walk up to him, let him smell her hand, and offer him a carrot. That might work with recalcitrant horses, but it wasn't going to be the way that she connected with a man. Which was a pity, because she had a hell of a lot of carrots. Hunter took the woman out on the crowded dance floor, which was really just a small section of the bar that had tables and chairs pushed away, with the jukebox.